It was July 28, 1980, a humid evening on Long Island, and John Favara was locking up his workplace for the last time. Unbeknownst to him, his routine was about to take a fateful turn. The hard-working family man had unwittingly earned a shadowed place in the story of one of New York's most feared crime families, and this day would mark his final exit. 4 months earlier, a single tragic moment sealed his fate. The story began on March 18, 1980, in Howard Beach, Queens, a neighborhood that knew the price of silence, where John Gotti, a feared mob boss and major figure in the Gambino crime family, resided. For John Favara, Gotti was just a neighbor. Favara was a 51-year-old factory worker, a devoted father to 2 adopted children, and a man who steered clear of crime. He had a friendly connection with the Gotti family. His son Scott had even slept over with Gotti's son John Jr. But on that spring evening, a small twist of fate tied him to the Gotti family forever. As he drove down the block, Favara didn't see Gotti's 12-year-old son Frank ride his minibike into the street. The sun was low, the shadows long, and a large dumpster near the curb created a blind spot. By the time Frank darted into the street, it was too late. A loud thud brought Favara to a halt. The people who rushed to his car found him dazed, unaware at first of what he'd struck. Some accounts say he tried to defend himself by muttering, "What was he doing in the street?" But the damage was done. The young boy's life had been cut short in the aftermath of the accident. An official investigation determined it was just that, a tragic, heart-wrenching accident. Favara wasn't charged with any crime, and he had no history of drinking or recklessness. Yet in Howard Beach, there were families that lived by their own rules, and forgiveness was not a known virtue. While the court saw an accident, the Gotti family saw something else, a wrong that demanded payback. In the days that followed, rumors took flight across the neighborhood, and Favara became the target of a series of eerie and mounting threats. First, there was a strange woman who reportedly called the police, warning them that Favara would soon be eliminated. Police tried to reach him, hoping he'd take heed, but Favara remained at home, trusting the law to protect him. Then came the unsettling harassment, anonymous letters, phone calls in the dead of night, and notes marked with the word murderer. It wasn't long before someone spray-painted it in bold letters across his car. Favara's family sensed danger, especially after the fateful incident one afternoon in May when Gotti's wife Victoria took matters into her own hands. He confronted Favara in broad daylight, swinging a baseball bat at him and shouting accusations. Neighbors watched the scene unfold, stunned by the audacity, but no one intervened. Even then, Favara tried to brush it off, but deep down, he knew he had to get out of Howard Beach. By early June, he listed his home for sale. It was a sign of desperation. He wasn't just selling his house. He was abandoning his life as he knew it. As July approached, he found a buyer, and the sale was set to close on July 31st. It was just a matter of days before he could leave behind the threat that now clung to him like a shadow. But the timing would prove fatal. On July 25th, Gotti and his family left New York for a trip to Florida, a seemingly ordinary vacation. This was a detail that would later haunt investigators, as it provided John Gotti with a convenient alibi for what happened just 3 days later. On the evening of July 28th, Favara left work. A routine act turned into a haunting farewell. Eyewitnesses would later recount how he approached his car, only to be ambushed by a group of men. They forced him into a waiting van, indifferent to the public setting and anyone who might be watching. The van vanished, and with it, John Favara's life. These inquiries quickly led back to the Gotti family, whose indifference spoke volumes. When authorities questioned Victoria Gotti, she allegedly said, "I don't know what happened to him, but I am not sorry if something did." John Gotti's response was blunt yet emotionless. "He killed my kid." No evidence surfaced to implicate the family directly, but the message was clear. Whatever had happened to John Favara, no one in the Gotti household cared to look. In 1983, authorities officially declared John Favara dead, but his remains were never found. Over time, theories circulated, each more chilling than the last. Some claimed that Favara was killed on Gotti's orders, with Gambino associate Charles Carnegie pulling the trigger. One rumor alleged that Favara's body was disposed of in a vat of acid, erasing all traces of him. Whether these stories held truth or were merely whispers of fear, one fact remained: John Favara was gone, and the man responsible for his alleged murder, Gotti, was untouchable. As the years went on, Favara's family clung to memories a portrait without closure. His son Scott would later describe him as a great man who deserved better than to simply vanish. To the Gotti family, however, Favara's apparent lack of remorse after the accident was an unpardonable offense. Victoria Gotti, John Gotti's daughter, once reflected that if Favara had shown more respect, he might still be alive. In 2004, investigators made a final attempt to uncover the truth, digging into a known mob burial site in Queens. Their search yielded no answers. In 2009, court documents surfaced suggesting that Carnegie had been involved, but with John Gotti dead since 2002, any chance of solving the case faded further, and so, John Favara's fate remains an unsolved mystery, trapped in the murky depths of mob justice. To this day, the story of John Favara is a dark reminder of the power the mob once wielded, a tale of vengeance woven through the streets of New York. Perhaps the mystery will remain like so many others, buried in shadows for John Favara, a man who lived an ordinary life. A single accident led him down an irreversible path, and in the end it was just John Favara who disappeared. It was a piece of truth that the city may never recover.